The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. In a small village nestled between towering mountains, there lived a young woman named Alina. Alina was bright and ambitious. But as she grew older, she began to feel burdened by an overwhelming sense of dissatisfaction. No matter how hard she tried, she always seemed to fall short of her dreams and never quite felt at peace. One evening, as she wandered through the village square, a wise old woman named Izel caught her attention. Izel was known for her deep understanding of life and often spoke to villagers about the wisdom of ancient traditions. Curious, Alina approached Izel and asked, "Why do I feel so lost? I feel like I am constantly searching for something but never find it." Izel looked at her kindly and smiled. "You, like many others, are burdened by agreements. These are beliefs and thoughts you've inherited over time, whether through your family, society, or your own experiences. But there's a way to break free from these chains and find the peace you seek. It's called the Four Agreements." Alina was intrigued. "What are these agreements, and how can they help me?" Izel nodded. "Let me tell you a story. It's a story about how we all create our own reality, and how we can change it by following four simple agreements. The first agreement: be impeccable with your word." Izel began her tale. Long ago in another world, people spoke words with great power. Every word they spoke had an impact on the world around them. Unfortunately, most people didn't realize the true power of their words. They used words to gossip, judge, and harm others without even realizing it. Alina listened closely, captivated by the story. The first agreement is simple, yet profound. Be impeccable with your word. This means speaking with integrity. Only say what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or others. Words are like seeds. They can grow into something beautiful or cause destruction. When we speak with kindness, honesty, and love, we are aligning ourselves with our true power. Izel paused for a moment, letting the words sink in. Lena thought about how often she had used harsh words against herself, calling herself lazy or unworthy, and how she had spoken negatively about others. It made sense. If words held such power, she wanted to use them wisely. Izel continued, "When you are impeccable with your word, you begin to heal yourself and others. You free yourself from the weight of anger, resentment, and fear, and you begin to experience personal freedom." Alina nodded, feeling the truth of this agreement resonate deeply within her. "I will try to be more mindful of the words I speak," she said quietly. The second agreement: don't take anything personally. Alina furrowed her brow. "But what about when someone says something hurtful or judges me?" As the moon rose high in the sky, Izel shared the second agreement. The second agreement is not to take anything personally. See, people's actions and words are often a reflection of their own reality, not yours. When someone criticizes you, it's not about you, it's about their own beliefs and fears. Izel smiled gently. When you take something personally, you are giving away your personal power. You allow others' words or actions to control your emotions and how you feel about yourself. But in truth, no one can make you feel anything unless you let them. Lena thought about the many times she had internalized criticism or judgment from others. Whether it was a remark about her appearance, her choices, or her ability, she had often taken it to heart, believing it was a reflection of her worth. Izel's voice softened. When you stop taking things personally, you realize that everyone is acting from their own perspective, which is influenced by their experiences, beliefs, and fears. People's opinions are not your reality. Alina took a deep breath, feeling a sense of relief. "I understand now. It's not about me, it's about them." Izel nodded. "Exactly. When you stop taking things personally, you free yourself from unnecessary suffering. You begin to live with greater peace and resilience because you are no longer affected by the opinions or actions of others." The third agreement: don't make assumptions. Izel then moved on to the third agreement. The third agreement is don't make assumptions. We often assume we know what others are thinking, what they feel, or why they act the way they do. We create stories in our heads, and these stories can lead to misunderstandings, conflict, and unnecessary suffering. Alina thought about how often she had jumped to conclusions about people's actions or intentions, only to find out later that her assumptions were wrong. So, instead of assuming I should ask questions, Izel nodded. "Exactly. The key is to communicate clearly and openly. If you don't understand something, ask. If If you feel hurt or confused, express your feelings. But when you make assumptions, you create a world of confusion and misinterpretation, and that often leads to unnecessary conflict. She continued, assumptions are rooted in fear. When we assume things, we are often projecting our own insecurities or past experiences onto others. But when you choose not to make assumptions, you open yourself to clarity and understanding. You stop creating false stories that cloud your reality. Alina felt a shift within her. She realized how many times she had assumed things about others, and how that had led to misunderstandings. I see now, she said. When I stop making assumptions, I create a space for honesty and openness. Isel smiled. Alina, you begin to trust yourself and others more. You let go of fear and replace it with clarity and understanding. The fourth agreement, always do your best. Finally, Isel spoke about the fourth agreement. The fourth and final agreement is to always do your best. This agreement is about accepting that you will not always be perfect, and that's okay. Your best will vary from moment to moment, depending on your circumstances, energy, and state of mind. The important thing is that you always give your best effort, no matter what. Alina nodded, considering how often she had judged herself for not being perfect or not achieving things in the way she had imagined. I've often felt disappointed when I didn't reach my goals the way I expected, she confessed. I pushed myself so hard, thinking I had to be perfect. Isel gently placed her hand on Alina's shoulder. Perfection is an illusion. The real goal is to be present, to do your best with the resources and knowledge you have in the moment. When you do your best, you let go of guilt, shame, and regret, because you know you gave it your all. Alina smiled. She felt a sense of liberation wash over her. So, it's not about being perfect. It's about giving my best effort and accepting where I am right now. Exactly, Isel said. When you always do your best, you will avoid self-judgment and regret. Your best will evolve over time, and as long as you continue to put forth your effort, you will always be growing, learning, and improving. Transformation. Over the following weeks, Alina began to incorporate the 4 agreements into her daily life. She made a conscious effort to be impeccable with her word, to stop taking things personally, to refrain from making assumptions, and to always do her best. At first, it wasn't easy. There were moments of doubt, moments when she slipped back into old habits. But each time she remembered the agreements, she chose to shift her mindset. As Alina practiced these agreements, she began to notice a profound change in herself. She no longer felt the weight of others' opinions, and she became more compassionate toward herself. Her relationships improved, and she felt a growing sense of peace within her. No longer was she enslaved by the beliefs and judgments that had held her captive for so long. She had freed herself. One day, as Alina sat by the river, reflecting on her journey, she realized that she was no longer searching for something outside of herself. The peace she had been seeking was already within her. The 4 agreements had shown her the path to personal freedom, freedom from self-doubt, fear, and the need for validation. And in that moment, Alina felt a deep sense of contentment, knowing that she was living in alignment with her true self. And so, Alina's journey continued. But now it was a journey of personal freedom. She shared the wisdom of the 4 agreements with others in the village, helping them see that true happiness and peace come not from external circumstances, but from the way we choose to live and think. Through the 4 agreements, Alina had found a way to live with integrity, to stop being controlled by fear and assumptions, and to give her best effort without the pressure of perfection. It wasn't an easy path, but it was a path that led to a life of true freedom, a life where she was no longer bound by the chains of old beliefs. And so, Alina walked forward, her heart light and her mind clear, ready to face whatever the world had in store, knowing that she was free.